How you doing, guys? Welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 10th of February 2022. Today I want to quickly discuss Bitcoin. I'm going to go through the broader market, kind of get a feel for what Bitcoin's doing, and explain why I still need to see 46,000 traded through, in a convincing manner. I want to see confirmation of flows before I'm convinced that this move that's happening right now is indeed going to continue. There is a lot going on with Bitcoin, at the moment, and obviously at any moment, Bitcoin can just do something really insane. And I'm mindful of this, and I'm trying to find the small nuances, the little subtle shifts, on the chart, lower time frames, hourly, 15-minute, for example, to give me a better feel for whether or not this is indeed, a real move, or whether we're going to see something pretty dramatic going forward. So, just remember, everything that I'm talking about isn't financial advice, but I really want to kind of focus on the chart, the flows, purely for education, obviously. And I want to do something slightly different today. I want to talk about a completely fresh chart, and I'm going to show you a slightly different way of analyzing charts, to hopefully give those who are asking about liquidity and, some of the things that I see, a little bit more of a simpler way to just make some clean notes on your charts and get a better feel for what you could be expecting going forward. All right. So with Bitcoin, the last time we were discussing Bitcoin, you guys were looking at this chart. Okay, and I've since decided, when I was doing this video, to do, a complete fresh breakdown. This chart, I've added some additional things. We were doing a live study, in the Discord. The link is in the description. Everybody's welcome. But I was doing, something slightly different with this, and obviously you might see some additional levels, and I want to kind of keep that as it is. So we're going to do a fresh Bitcoin analysis. We'll start with the weekly chart, and again, as you're looking at the chart like this, just be mindful, okay, of some really basic things, right? We don't just draw a bunch of charts on our, we don't just draw a bunch of lines on our charts and say this is support or this is resistance. The whole point of looking at a chart is to try to get a feel for what price, is doing now and what it could potentially be doing next. Otherwise, what's the point in looking at a chart? You may as well just go and read the news, right? So charting is another tool. It's another tool that we use to give us a better understanding and feel for what is happening in that moment. And right now we can see Bitcoin's currently at 45,000, give or take. All right. Okay, fine. And we know that it's for the last 2.5 weeks, it's been running from a low that it's just created. Okay. So week 1, week 2, week 3, we can see the response. It's a 3-bar rally, 3-candle rally. Okay. We're looking at the weekly. So each one of these candles is a week. I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence, but I know there's some people that are viewing this that, are not as versed in candlesticks. So I just want to kind of be, really clear about everything that I'm saying. So we know the response, we can see it, all right? So if we just reference the response, we look left and we say, right, we know where it's responded from, all right? And we're going to make the assumption that that's a liquidity pool. Great. What can we say that price has just done when it hit this level? Okay, we can make again the assumption that it's picking up buy-side liquidity. Now, I know, based on the years of experience and doing this for so long, what price is doing, but I want to use a slightly different way today to explain this, to really help those who want to learn, who want to learn to understand what I'm doing and what I'm talking about, so I'm going to be using slightly different terminology. So we're making the assumption that it's picking up buy-side liquidity, okay? So if it's picking up buy-side liquidity, what can we assume that is going to do to price? Buy-side, bullish, it's going to go up, right? And we can see that. We can see prices going up, prices going up. Now, what's interesting, and we make a note of it, is that this high just here was traded to, okay? And you can see that so far, price is maintaining above this level. So the last red candle to the downside was quite dramatic, quite sharp, quite strong, quite quick, okay? And we can see, sorry guys, and we can see that started here. We can see there was a drop, very small pause, okay, and then an aggressive drop into the liquidity pool. So this is important. This is what we want to be mindful of. Now that price has traded through it, that's great. That's good for us. Is it a shift? Is it going, from bearish, selling, down to what could potentially now be a small shift? We're going up, it's shifted, it's, starting to accumulate buy-side liquidity, right? Well, let's drop down to the daily and take a look. And you can see, let me just zoom out a little bit so we've got a bit more to work with. So we can start to see this fleshed out a little bit more. We can see that that last run into this liquidity pool has turned nicely, and this could potentially be the reversal that we're expecting, right? Or at least looking for. Now, when we look at the daily like this, as I said to you guys, I'm looking for 46,000 to be traded to. We've just hit, I think the high of that candle was 45,732. So very close to 46. Is it enough to say, now we're bullish, now we're excited, now the broader market's going to start moving, everything's going to start moving up, we're out of this so-called crypto winter that everybody talks about and so on, and now we're just going to keep running, to the upside? Well, not necessarily. And this is where I believe and feel the danger is, when we don't give the asset that we're looking at enough time to prove it is bullish. In this case, Bitcoin being bullish, right? We don't give it enough time. We make assumptions, we anticipate, we end up in the wrong side of trades, we end up taking positions that we shouldn't really be in, and we don't plan, like really plan our trades out, really plan our investments out. Putting all the hype aside, putting all of this nonsense aside, the whole point of engaging with the market is to do it in a safe, methodical, and clean way that on the other side, when you get there, will be a profit. Yes. So why would we just automatically assume now, just because Bitcoin went from 34,000 to around about 46,000, that it's bullish now, just because we're seeing the bounce? We've seen this before. Yeah. So we have to be careful. We have to be mindful that what we're seeing on the chart, is so far just a first indicator that we could potentially be turning, reversing, and going to the upside. This area right here that I've made a reference to, which comes in at 45,738. What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to put it at 46. Okay. So it's 46 to around about sort of 48,000-ish. That's what I want to see price trade through convincingly. I just want to see price go through this like this. Yeah. Just go through it. Nice, strong. None of this kind of fiddling around, just and then kind of bleed it. I just want to see it go through it convincingly, so we can say, yes, now we can be absolutely sure that price has gone through 46, 48, 50. Now it's hovering around about 51. So when we finally get this drop or pullback, we know it's coming back into a workable range, something that's strong. There is something behind it. It's like effectively building foundations behind you, foundations behind you, foundations behind you. So when we start to pull back, there is something to support that pullback. This is what's important. Right now, there's nothing supporting this rally, this bounce, this what could potentially be a dead cat bounce. There's nothing to support this other than an imbalance, which is the worst thing that can be supporting price right now. So if price starts to come back down, this isn't going to hold price. Yeah, I really don't think that would hold price at all. But if price convincingly gets through these levels and really starts to show some strength, 48,000, 50,000, 52,000, then starts to pull back, we have a foundation for it to hit, stabilize, and then potentially, we get that secondary pop, that takes us what would be to about here. Okay, around about 56. So that would be this area right here. Okay, that's what I would like to see before I commit. Yeah, this here. This is the most important, to come for me. If that happens, then I will have more confidence to say, yes, I'm convinced that Bitcoin, is, excuse me, has picked up buy-side liquidity down here, has reversed, has shifted in flow, has, stabilized, has created a foundation, nice support, and then that second rally to the upside that goes into sort of 56,000 would be, for me, I would be way more confident, expecting this going forward after all of this happens than grabbing it here and saying, well, I'm quite happy with that, right? So for me, like I said, this price axis isn't really, what I'm concerned about. The chart flow is what I'm concerned about. I know and I understand that there's plenty of news going on, going on about Bitcoin, and there's so much, in that particular area. And obviously, we can take a lot of this stuff into consideration and make assumptions that Bitcoin is one thing or another. But the reality is, unless we see this, and this I'm just talking for myself, unless I see this on the chart and I can confirm it with the flows, then I'm really not interested. I have to see so much, on an asset before I commit the money that I work very, very hard for. Okay. So I hope that that kind of breakdown helps to understand some of the way that I think. And the way that I like to put things on the charts, what I'm expecting, and obviously there's a lot more, that I'm going to be going through as we continue to do all of the videos that you see me do. And I like to try do it in a way that kind of gets people thinking, to really, experience what it is that I'm trying to go through. So when you look at it on the chart yourself, your brain says, do you know what? I've seen this before. I kind of know what it is. It makes sense. I can see price reacting at these levels, so I'm going to start paying a little bit, closer attention. But more importantly, and this is something that I really hope comes across in the videos, is I want people to really start to plan their investments. When I first started making videos, in the last sort of 2 to 3 months, and really pushing to get a lot of content out there, that has always been my main focus, to get people to take a step back, move away from the hype, move away from all of this insanity that happens in this space, and really start to plan and work on their investments in a way, that is professional, in a way that makes sense, and in a way that is very, very safe, to not worry too much about FOMO, about FUD, but to really look at the investment and make sure that you're doing it because it makes sense to you, and doing it because you know that you've done the analysis, that you're confident in your analysis, you're confident whether it's charting, whether it's the news, whether it's the fundamentals, whether it's the project, whether it's whatever it is that you're looking at. All of this that you do, you need to have confidence in that. And obviously, this is something that I'm trying to instill and to push and to drive forward in terms of education and everything that I'm going through, and we collectively as a community, as we bounce ideas off each other, we're trying to get to that point where we can have confidence in the investments that we are invested in. So with that said, guys, I really hope everyone's having an absolutely fantastic day. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will look forward to speaking to you very, very soon. All the best and take care.